ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Readings from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 7. Indra offends his spiritual master, Brihaspati. Let's chant the Sanskrit verse. Akinchananam hidhanam shilonchanam. Akinchananam hidhanam shilonchanam. Akinchananam hidhanam shilonchanam. Teneha nirvartitha sadhu satkriyaha. Teneha nirvartita sadhu satkriyaha. Teneha nirvartita sadhu satkriyaha. Katham vigharhyam nukaromi adishvaraha. Katham vigharyam nukaromyadishvaraha. Katham vigharyam nukaromyadishvaraha. Paurodhasam hrishyati yena durmatihi. Paurodhasam hrishyati yena durmatihi. Akinchananam hidhanam shilonchanam. Teneha nirvartita sadhu satkriyaha. Katham vigharyam nukaromyadishvaraha. Paurodhasam hrishyati yena durmatihi. Akinchananam hidhanam shilonchanam. Teneha nirvartita sadhu satkriyaha. Katham vigharyam nukaromyadishvaraha. Paurodhasam hrishyati yena durmatihi. Two Vaishnavas and two Vaishnavis can recite the shlokas. Akinchananam hidhanam shilonchanam. Teneha nirvartita sadhu satkriyaha. Katham vigharyam nukaromyadishvaraha. Aurodhasham hrishyati yena durmatihi. Akinchananam hidhanam shilonchanam. Teneha nirvartita sadhu satkriyaha. Katham vigharyam nukaromyadishvaraha. Paurodhasham hrishyati yena durmatihi. Vaishnavis. Akinchananam hidhanam shilonchanam. Teneha nirvartita sadhu satkriyaha. कथं विघर्यं नु करोम्यदीश्वराः पौरोधसं हृष्यति येन दुर्मतिः अकिञ्चनानां हि धनं शिलोञ्चनम् तेनेह निर्वर्तित साधु सत्क्रियः कथं विघर्यं नु करोम्यदीश्वराः पौरोदसं हृष्यति येन दुर्मतिः. Translation by His Divine Grace by Charnavarinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Akinchananam, of persons who have taken to austerities and penances to become detached from worldly possessions. He certainly, dhanam, the wealth, sheela, the collecting of grains left in the field, unchanam, and the collecting of grains left in wholesale marketplace, tena, by that means, iha, here, nirvartita, accomplishing, sadhu, of the exalted devotees, satkriya, all the pious activities, katham, how, vigharyam, reproachable, nu, indeed, karomi, I shall execute, adishvaraha, O great governors of the planetary systems, paurodhasam, the duty of priesthood, hrishyati, is pleased, yena, by which, durmatihi, one who is less intelligent. Translation, please repeat. O exalted governors of various planets, the true Brahmana, who has no material possessions, maintains himself by the profession of accepting shilonchana. In other words, he picks up grains left in the field and on the ground in the wholesale marketplace. By this means, householder Brahmanas who actually abide by the principles of austerity and penance and maintain themselves and their families and perform all necessary pious activities. A Brahmana who desires to achieve happiness by gaining wealth through professional priesthood must certainly have a very low mind. How shall I accept such priesthood? A first-class Brahmana does not accept any rewards from his disciples or yajamanas. Practicing austerities and penances, he instead goes to the agricultural field and collects food grains left by the agriculturists to be collected by Brahmanas. Similarly, such Brahmanas go to marketplaces where grains are purchased and sold wholesale, and there they collect grains left by the merchants. In this way, such exalted Brahmanas maintain their bodies and families. Such priests never demand anything from the disciples to live in opulence, imitating Kshatriyas or Vaishyas. In other words, a pure Brahmana voluntarily accepts a life of poverty and lives in complete dependence on the mercy of the Lord. Not very many years ago, a Brahmana in Krishna Nagara near Navadvipa was offered some help from the local Zamindar, Vraja Krishna Chandra. The Brahmana refused to accept the help. He said that since he was happy in his householder life, taking rice given by his disciples and cooking vegetables of tamarind leaves, there was no question of taking help from the Zamindar. The conclusion is that although a Brahmana may receive much opulence from his disciples, he should not utilize the rewards of his priesthood for his personal benefit. He must use them for the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om Vishnu Pada Krishna Dashtaya Bhutalistimate Jayapataka Swami Namaha. Today's verse, 36, and the chapter entitled Indra Offends Brihaspati. The pastime goes like this. Indra was very proud of his opulences sitting in his assembly and in his court, and Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods, entered the assembly, and Indra didn't carry, he did not even care for his spiritual master, and did not offer him a seat or offer him the obeisances. And in this way he offended, and so Brihaspati disappeared. And Indra, by using his power, tried to search for his spiritual master, but he couldn't find out his spiritual master. And meanwhile, the demigods got overpowered since they were following the instructions of their spiritual master Sukracharya. By following his instruction, the demons were able to defeat the demigods. So the demigods, they were in trouble. So when they are in trouble, obviously they will be going to Brahmaji. And when they went to Brahma, and Brahma just chastised them for having insulted Brihaspati. And he said, now you don't have a spiritual master, so approach Vishwarupa, who is the son of Tvashta. Tvashta is also a Prajapati, so he is equal to the demigods. So Brahmaji told the demigods to approach Vishwarupa to be their spiritual master and also their priest. So the today's verse is spoken by Vishwarupa, and yesterday itself he started speaking, Vishwarupa started speaking. And yesterday's verse, if we refer, that Vishwarupa says that he accepts the orders of the demigods. He says that I am agreeing this for my own benefit. And we should not misunderstand that for his own benefit doesn't mean that for the opulences which demigods will be giving in return for Vishwarupa. Because again he says, in today's verse, he says that a Brahmana who desires to achieve happiness by gaining wealth through professional priesthood must certainly have a very low mind. He is clarifying that he is accepting this priesthood not because of opulences, because if that person accepts, then he is of a very low mind. He is again clarifying that how can I accept such priesthood with a low mind. So he is clarifying again that he is accepting this priesthood not for any opulences, but to follow the spiritual principles, just taking the orders from the superior persons. For example, Brahma also ordered, the demigods also requesting him to accept the priestly order to conduct on Brihaspati's behalf. Interestingly, third canto says there are 4 kinds of professions for a grihastha. And one kind of profession, it's mentioned in this shloka, which is Silonchanam. Silonchanam is Shila and Unchana. Shila is the grains left in the field, and Unchana is grains left in the marketplaces. In Vedic culture, if we see, they were perfectly following Varnashrama. All the Varnas were following their properly. So in that case, the Vaishyas who are supposed to be giving charity to the Brahmanas, they purposely left grains in the field, and they purposely left the grains in the wholesale marketplaces so that the Brahmanas will take it for their maintenance. But in Kali Yuga, it is not like that. The Vaishyas, not everyone is ready to distribute their wealth, and people want to accumulate more and more. And we can see the Varnashrama, which is based on the cow protection and also agriculture. The Vaishyas were basically maintaining all the other 3. The Vaishyas, they gave charity to the Brahmanas, and 1/4 of their produce were given to the Kshatriyas as tax, and they were maintaining the Shudras by giving them work. So in that case, the perfect economy was run in the Varnashrama community. And when the Vaishyas are not able to produce grains due to drought or famine, so then the Kshatriyas, the whole stock of grains which they received it as tax was given to all, were supplied to all during the necessity time. And that way, perfect economy was run by the basis of cow protection and agriculture. And Srila Prabhupada many times stresses on these two, crop protection and agriculture. So people don't have to run behind these industries, which is Vugra Karma basically, and we will have enough time to focus on our spiritual life. 6 hours working in the farm and remaining hours for us to progress in our spiritual life. In that way, the whole thing was nicely arranged so that people can devote their lives not more in search of money and so many things, red things, but they can focus more time in their spiritual life. And third canto also says the other 3 professions, which are Varta. The Varta is the profession which is not contradicting to the Vedic culture. For example, farming, carpentry, so many things. And the other is Sanchaya. It is called as deity worship, teaching deity worship, especially teaching how to worship Lord Vishnu. That is Sanchaya. And then Salina. Salina is again one profession where the person is depending only on Lord Vishnu for his maintenance and not soliciting for his maintenance. If some person comes and tells that you do this job, I'll give you something. So in that case, he will work. Not on his own accord, he will go and find for a job. That is Shilana. The fourth one is Silonchana, which is said in this verse. Silonchana is Shila means agricultural field and Unchana is marketplaces where the Vaishyas has left their grains in the fields and also marketplaces. In this verse we can see how by doing priesthood a person also get opulences, because now here if we see the demigods are asking Vishwarupa to be their priest, and in that return definitely he may get the opulences, power, name, position, because he is going to be the priest of the demigods who are very powerful for the administrators of the universe. Similarly, in our spiritual life also, when we take up devotional service, that time we get facilities, opulences, name, fame, position, so many things. Maybe a person is not very much talented, but the devotional service, the performance of devotional service give him talent, because the Lord says in 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Dhami Buddhi Yogam Tam, because the Lord gives the intelligence, Sarvasya Chaham Hridishanni Vishnu, the knowledge, remembrance, forgetfulness, all the 3 comes from the Lord. So in that case, when we perform devotional service, as a byproduct, everything we get facilities, we get opulences, we get the talents are enhanced. The person may be an eloquent speaker and his speaking talent becomes more, or like how a diamond, when it is uncut, it is not shining, but when it is polished, the brightness we can see in the diamond. So when it is uncut diamond, we can see, we don't even appreciate that it is a diamond. The same way, a soul, when it takes up devotional service, we can understand how by the mercy of the Lord, he is so shining. But the shining, we should not get bewildered by that shine. Because many times what happens as a practicing devotee, when we get name, fame, position, or like maybe a very good kirtaniya, whatever it is, due to that he receives fame, she receives fame. One should not get bewildered by that fame and asking or looking for more fame. So in that case, what happens? Krishna gives the name, fame, position, whatever we need, but we get diverted from our path of pure devotional service. And we always have to watch out. I relate this to this with car driving. For example, when we are driving in the car, especially it is an 8-lane road or 6-lane road, we have to be very careful. We may be thinking that the other person is not coming. Always it's good that we check our shoulder, because many times with the mirror, side mirror, we will not be able to find out whether the next car very closely coming. Maybe far away we can see from the mirror, but very closely it is coming. We are not able to see that the other car. So that time we check and see, because then otherwise if we don't see and change the lane, it is going to be a disaster, it's going to be a major accident. So always I find this is because very closely we may think, okay, it's coming very far. So same analogy we can use, like I'm not looking for fame, but still in the core of my heart, I'm looking for it. So Krishna sees that, so it's like checking shoulder is always maybe a benchmark, maybe a different example, but I feel that it is very important. That's why I said this example. It's very important that always we make a check. What am I looking for? Am I looking for pure devotional service? Or am I looking for these things? Actually, recently in an incident which took place during Nrsimha Chaturthi, there are so many devotees were looking the Lord's Abhishekam. And I was just roaming, circumambulating the deities so that I get a chance to see the Lord. But at one point of time, I got so disturbed that all the devotees are watching in front, only I am not able to, I am just seeing from the TV. Then I thought, I am here in Mayapur for 2-3 years, so how can the security not allow me to see that? I have to utilize this opportunity. Now I am here in Mayapur for so long, so they have to give me the opportunity. Because I am here for, I have to give them that, the importance. Maybe that I felt like that. I have to be given that importance, that I have to be allowed to see that Abhishekam. I fought with the security. I just sat for 10 minutes there watching the Abhishekam. But after watching the Abhishekam, I was just feeling, is this what, because I just fought with the security for no reasons, because they are there for our safety and security. But after maybe 10 minutes, I just felt very bad. Since I am in Mayapur for so long, that we needed that importance. So is Nrsimha will be happy of this act of mine? Or am I going to get pure devotional service for this act? Or just seeing Nrsimha in front of him or seeing in the TV doesn't make any difference for a pure devotee. For a pure devotee, he can see, just close his eyes, he can just see the Lord. That very nice story is there in Nectar of Devotion, where the yogi offers the Lord the sweet rice in his mind. But the Lord, when he just wanted to touch the sweet rice, whether it is hot or not, in his mind he was doing this thing. And when he touched his finger, he got hot and he got burnt. The finger got burnt. So I was just realizing that if the mind a devotee can see the Supreme Lord, so what difference it makes whether to see in the TV or in person. I felt very bad, and the next day I went and apologized the security that I did like this, and I just asked for his forgiveness and asked his blessings. So because many times, even while putting flowers to Srila Prabhupada, so many times we find that we are just breaking the line and going. And just because putting flowers in this, cutting the line and putting the flowers to Srila Prabhupada, am I going to progress in devotional service? Srila Prabhupada is going to be happy with this act of mine. Because when we sing that Guru Mukha Padmahavakya Chitte Te Kuriya Kya, the instructions of the spiritual master have to be one with the mind. Are we following the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, or just putting flowers in first, being first, or breaking the line and putting flowers to Srila Prabhupada? Am I going to progress in this way? What am I going to do? What is my goal? Am I following what Srila Prabhupada says in his books? Because these are the law books for the movement, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So am I following this, or am I giving importance to put flowers to Srila Prabhupada, or any occasions? There are so many lines for us to take Charnamrit, to offer flowers to Srila Prabhupada. Now we have Shalila Vihar, and so many things. So what is that am I going to achieve in that? There are many villagers who comes to our temple. They are not aware of these thoughts. Sometimes they just go in the line first. But that doesn't mean that we also have to follow them. So what is our motto? What is our goal? Our goal is to achieve pure devotional service. When we take a pure devotional service, when we are on the path of devotional service, Krishna gives so many facilities, Krishna gives so many opulences, so that it's just maybe a test. Are we attracted to those, are bewildered by those opulences and those facilities? Or am I my main goal is devotional service. One should not get bewildered by these opulences and facilities, and always try to be in the path. We see in Srimad Bhagavatam, Indra, Daksha, though they were devotees, but they were proud of their position. We saw Daksha, the 5th canto, that how Daksha was very proud and he fought with the great Vaishnava, Shiva. And then later in the 5th canto, he insulted Narada Muni. And even here, Indra, many times, out of his pride, he offended his spiritual master. And later we see in the 6th canto, the Lord comes in front of the demigods, and the demigods are requesting the Lord to kill Vritasura, or tell a means how to kill Vritasura. And the Lord regrets that I came in person in front of you, but you people never asked for pure devotional service, but rather they asked like how to kill Vritasura. So this is the regrets of the Lord. So even the Supreme Lord comes in front of him, they are not able to appreciate. On the contrary, in Dhruva Maharaj, when the Lord came in front of Dhruva Maharaj says that I want the association of devotees. When the Lord is personally present in front of Dhruva Maharaj, but Dhruva Maharaj says that I always want to be in the association of devotees. So that's the power of association also we can see in the story of Dhruva Maharaj. So we can see how proud they became due to the opulences. In one sense, they are also devotees, but they got bewildered by their position. On the contrary, we can see Parikshit Maharaj, who was a great devotee, who came in a family of very great devotees. And Parikshit Maharaj is also called as Vishnu Rata, one who is always protected by Lord Vishnu. We always see that Vishnu Rata, protection means we feel that it is material body's protection. It is mainly the spiritual protection. It is Vishnu Rata. If we see in that story, when Shringi cursed Parikshit Maharaj is so powerful that using his power, because he is a great devotee, he is also called Vishnu Rata, and by that power he could have counter-cursed Shringi. But he accepted, without proud, he accepted it as the will of the Lord. It shows his humility that even though he had power to counter-curse, he didn't utilize this opportunity and he just accepted it as the will of the Lord. And that's how pure devotees, and that's how many pastimes are there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And we take this, here Vishwarupa accepted, says clearly that he accepted priesthood not for material opulences, facilities. When a person accepts like that, he says that he is of a very low mind. Srimad Bhagavatam also says, the 1st canto, 2nd chapter, Dharmasya hi apavarghasya narto artayapa kalpate nartasya dharmai kantasya kamo labhaya hi smritaha. All occupations will bring the byproducts, and the occupation should lead us to liberation. That's what dharmasya hi apavargasya. But when we perform occupations, definitely we get the karma. But that karma should be used for just minimal maintenance, and especially all the others should be used for the Supreme Personality of Godhead service. Here Prabhupada clearly says that he must use them for the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one should not get bewildered, because here Bhagavatam clearly says that dharmasya hi apavargasya narto artayapa kalpati, that one is anyway going to get opulences and facilities, but one should use it in the service of the Lord. And that's Prabhupada also says here. And I remember there was an article long time back in Back to Godhead magazine, I think. So there the author writes, wanting a Rolls Royce for book distribution. Means like without a Rolls Royce he will not go out for book distribution. Our main aim is book distribution, not in which car we are going. So that many times we get bewildered. Like, no, I want something best. We want something best for the Lord, but what happens is, for example, a person makes a beautiful altar. He spends thousands of rupees to make that altar. But what is the point if he doesn't do arati to the very nice, wonderfully made altar? End of the day, his goal for pure devotional service is not achieved. His false ego is maybe satisfied of like, see how I made, like I spent this much amount to make a wonderful altar. So always, when we get facilities, how without getting diverted, we are going to use the facility. Maybe because we will say, oh, he spent so much or she spent so much to get a new altar. People speak about it, the very nice altar, the price of the altar, and we get satisfied. I think Prabhupada also mentions in the first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam that about Arjuna, when he speaks about Arjuna, that Arjuna doesn't want to fight, and he wants, because even if he fights also, he will win the kingdom. When he get the kingdom, people will be get attracted, speak about his opulences. Prabhupada clearly mentions in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita that people speak about his opulences and he get proud. In one way, Arjuna's position, Prabhupada will explain. So always we have to be in the proper goal, that our goal is pure devotional service, and we should not be get diverted or bewildered by the so-called facilities, opulences, and so many things. And with this, I would conclude the class. Any corrections, criticism, or questions to whatever my understanding, I'll try.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. As you told about the word ashram, that cow protection and agriculture, but in modern day scenario we see in Mayapur, the devotees are not interested in keeping cows or agriculture. So how it can be applicable?
I think in many parts of the world, the ISKCON society is endeavoring for cow protection and agriculture, and I'm sure that the authorities are working for cow protection, and it will be followed by agriculture also one day. And also, we have to be the change. I mean, I have to be the change. So then slowly I think, once if I follow all principles what Srila Prabhupada says in the book correctly, then I think slowly it is very personal. Instead of saying we, or instead of referring to ISKCON, who is ISKCON? I am ISKCON, you are ISKCON, the people who are sitting here are ISKCON. So only if that, if you get a thought like what Srila Prabhupada mentions in his book, that we have to follow, because those are the law books for the movement. If I begin to follow, at least if I start, maybe not, I'm not able to follow fully, but I just had a thought that I want to follow Srila Prabhupada. I want to follow his instructions. I think slowly if that thought comes to each and every one of us in the movement, then definitely there will be a drastic change in the movement.
My point is leaders should guide the general devotees that they can be interested in keeping cows and agriculture, but it's not happening. And also, if leaders are ideal, then others will be also inspired for seeing them. It's not happening. So it's like that. For betterment of Mayapur community, it's personal interest. Devotees should be interested in keeping cows and agriculture. So
in one sense, all of us are leaders. In one sense, because when we preach, you will be preaching, definitely. All of us are preaching in one sense. In that case, for those whom we are preaching, they are following us. They are taking us an example. So in that way, you become the leader for whom you preach. So when you follow Srila Prabhupada or words properly, then automatically you will have 10. And that you train the 10 to follow perfectly Srila Prabhupada books. And those 10 will make 100. In that way, there will be a change in the movement. Instead of referring others, I think the change has to come within us. And that is my humble suggestion or answer you can take. Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you for your very focused and stimulating talk. One question about demigods. We've seen in the Bhagavatam that the demigods are like constantly committing offenses, and every time it requires the Lord or Brahmaji to come and like rectify them. But then why don't they ever like learn from the previous experience? It's like they're like serial offenders. And is it because the demigods are also part of the material creation? They're also under the modes of material nature. And what lessons? Because Krishna says that you should not worship the demigods directly. You should worship me, but you should at least respect them. But then when you see the kind of offenses they're committing, against Vaishnavas, against even among themselves, and they're always fighting, and they always then the asuras get a chance to come and conquer heaven. It shows that they are like really under the modes of material nature, especially in the mode of passion. So what do you tell us in terms of like what the relationship with demigods should be?
As far as my understanding goes, the demigods are the post, not the same Indra is there. I think, am I right? Anyone can help, because there are different Indras. So it's not the same Indra who does this mistake and learn again. There are different, it's basically a post. The living entity who gets the qualification, he gets the post of the demigods to manage the universal affairs. So it's not the same Indra or whichever demigod it is. It's different. It's a post. So it's nothing called as like learning from the previous mistake, because it's not the same. The person is not the same.
Have at least heard that this previous Indra committed this mistake, so I should be careful.
The Lord clearly said in later chapters that even though that in front of the demigods he personally came and stood, but still they are in that mood that somehow they had to kill Vritasura, and they are not asking for pure devotions. Though we have to see one thing, that all devotees are not in the same level. Everyone is in different level. In the material world also, even in the higher planetary systems also. So.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you for the class. I want to ask that, as you said that when you are executing the pure devotional service, there may be chances that we may fall prey to fame even. So I want to ask that how could we fall prey to the fame if Krishna says that he is giving the intelligence after all? So why don't he give intelligence at the moment when we fall to the prey to those allurements inside by that of pure devotional service?
We are desiring for fame due to material desires. So there is a nice prayer in 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which we can pray to Narsimhadev. Om Namo Bhagavate Narsimhaya Tejas Tejas Avir Avir Bhava Vajra Rakha Vajra Damshrak Karmashayan Randhaya Tamo Grisha Grishavom Swaha Abhayam Abhayam Atmani Bhuyishta Om Shraum. So the shloka says that Prahlad Maharaj glorifies Narsimhadev, and he also requests Narsimhadev, please shatter my material desires. Please shatter my material desires into pieces. And due to material desires, we are looking for the fame. And when the material desires is shattered by Lord Narsimhadev, definitely our goal will be pure devotional service. And Narsimhadev deity is there. Every day we can offer this prayer to Lord Narsimhadev to get rid of all the material desires. And rather, instead of material desires, we can ask for spiritual desires. How can I serve the Supreme Lord nicely? How can I serve my spiritual master nicely? How can I be a small instrument in the mission of Srila Prabhupada, in the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? We can say these prayers. So, thank you very much. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, ISKCON Guru Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.